Hi guys, just doing a quick introduction before the video starts. My name's Carl, I'm a carpenter. My wife and I, we build camper vans. Unfortunately, the video quality is quite bad. The HD mode wasn't selected when I filmed it, which is really annoying. But anyway, I've stitched it together. We really hope it's helpful for you, and we really appreciate the comments below. It's important to add at this point that if you do decide to take the front seats out and change them, that you do so at your own risk. The bolts that attaches the seats to the bases are high tensile steel, so it's really important that when putting the chairs back on the bases that you use the same type of bolts.
So I've decided to do a video for anybody who wants to change their Mark 6, Mark 7 front transit seats into Ford Galaxy Swivel Seats. So I'm going to do a step-by-step guide on how to do that, because I haven't actually seen anything decent online to help people to do it themselves. So for anybody who wants to do this for a camper, this will be the video for you. So in order to do this, you're going to need some tools. I've got a Halford's advanced socket set, so nothing extreme. And the main tools for getting the seats off is actually torque bits. And to get the double seat off the base of the van, you'll need a T55. For getting the seat belt mount off, you'll need a T45. And for the driver's seat then to come off the box, because you want to leave the box in place, is a T40. You'll need a 10mm socket to help get the actual plastic steps off, because underneath the van there's two nuts there, and you can't get the seat out unless you get the plastic step off, because at least two of the main bolts on this side of the seat actually lay underneath that step. So the last two tools you'll need then is a Phillips screwdriver for getting the little plastic covers off, and a flathead for popping the caps off the step. So here's a bit of a close-up of what we've got to deal with. Here's where the caps are for the step. I've popped them off with a flathead screwdriver. The little plastic cover that hides that sort of, it's kind of in the way of everything. There's two screws here, and then there's two screws up here. To get the Phillips screwdriver, or Posi 2 would do. How I got it off is I sort of got my hand around this end, pulled it off, and then that sort of helps get it out, and it should just come out. Once the caps are off this, you need to go underneath the van. I'm not going to go under there because it's soaking wet. I'm in Wales, it's obviously raining. There's two nuts, one there and there's one under there, about midway in the step. Kind of you want to lever it, you might need a bit of help, but you want to sort of twist them and then sort of lever it up, and it will come off. Yeah, again, a little bit fiddly, but it's not rocket science. Once you do that, the best thing about this is you get to see what's been rotting your van for the last 10 years. And obviously this was used down the beach, this van, a lot of sand in it. But to be honest, this transit is in pretty good nick, and that's why I bought it. So we've looked after, there's not a lot of rust in there, so I can get some rust treatment in there, and I'll primer that up and spray it, just because once you're in there you might as well do it. So once that's off, you can see with the nuts here, the bolts, there's one there, one there. When you turn them, it doesn't actually come off, it just stays in place, so you just need to turn it. Once that's out, you've got your bolts here. I'll show you what the bolts look like. I've already taken them out. These are the bolts, T55. They do take a bit of a while to come out, but to combat that, go down to your nearest DIY shop. You can get some drill bits here that are attached straight into the bottom of the socket. They make life so much easier. Long bolts come out, absolute doddle. So I think I used the drill to get them out on all of those, apart from this one at the back here. There's a little bit less room in there, so I just had to do it by hand, but there we are, no matter.
So to get the driver's seat out, there's actually 5 bolts. There's 2 in the front and 3 in the back, and the extra one is behind the handbrake. So what you want to do is slide the seat forward to get the back bolts out, and to slide the seat back to get the front bolts out. Once you've done that, to get the plastic cover off the other side. I'll show you how to do that to get to the seat belt mounting. To get the seat belt mounting off this, the driver's side, you have to take the little, if you slide the seat forward, you can get access then to the screws, and there's one there, that comes off, but you got the seat adjustment there, and that's gonna have to, the handle's gonna have to come off. So what you do, get your flathead screwdriver, you need to sort of wiggle it around in there, and there's a little tiny, sort of like a U-pin, it's like a spring thing that basically comes out like that, and then you can take your handle off then, and it's the reverse process then to get it back in. It is pretty fiddly, but you need to do it. When you're doing these seats, you're going to have to pick a time where you know you're not going to use the fan, because chances are you'll take them out and the missus want to go shopping. Guaranteed it. So this is the second stage now of fitting these Ford Galaxy Swivel Seats. Now a lot of people say, oh yeah, they just fit in, just pop them on, they'll go straight in the same runners as the Transit, but actually if you look at the bolts, that it fits one side front to back, but then on the other side you can see there that it's a couple of inches out, isn't it? So this is the second part where we have to be a bit creative. So the front and back fit, but the side to side doesn't fit. So what we need to do is to get, well, this is my version of what to do. There is a couple of options, but I think the safest thing and the most easiest thing to do is make triangular plates for the corners from 3mm steel, and then you can weld that onto the top of the box. If you do that twice on the front and back, then you're good to go. The seats will just bolt in, drill the holes, you know, line them up, job done. If you tackle the bases, it'll be a lot easier to manage than actually tackling the chair side of it. I'll show you what I'm going to do with the one seat, and then obviously it's the same for the other seat then. So I'm going to show you the stages now and how to adapt the seat bases, and again this will involve making a triangular plate for the top, and the same on this side. This is what I was talking about before, where you want a triangular plate to go across here and line up there, and this I've done it about 5 inches from the corner. So here's what it looks like once you've cut off that little spacer there. You cut it off. I've just put a couple of welds in there just to sort of join it back together to replace that. What sort of the function of what that did. Not really necessary, but I like to sort of slightly overkill things when I do things like this. I've ground back with a flappy disc because it's quite a soft abrasive wheel, so just got it around here, and that's where I'm going to hopefully just do my welds. These are the two plates then that I've cut out. It's pretty simple to do. You just line up, put the metal on there, measure it up, get a straight edge, use a 45, measure up the lines and connect them up, cut them out with a grinder. It's pretty simple. I've gone for 2mm, I think, is it 2.5? Because I found some in the shed and it just happens to be the same thickness as the spacers. So one goes on like that, and then the other one goes on like that. So for me, I just find that this is the best way. Got 3 points of contact on there, so I think it's more than enough. And it's easy to work with as well. It's accessible.
In this part of the video, I'm cutting out a 5mm thick steel bar. You need to put this on one of the sides of the base because there's a gap there and the steel plate needs to sit on top of that in order to be absolutely flush. You need to do this on the driver's base also.
So this is what I've done. You can see there that the plate's on, and I've just sprayed, I don't know if you can see, but I've just sprayed that little hole there with a black paint so I can get a perfect match then when I come to drill it. And again there, not great lighting, but you can get the picture. Can you see how it sits nicely now on the edge of this thing? There's plenty of metal there for it to sit on. Just noticed something pretty handy. These bolts are pretty difficult to get in because there's not enough room there for the socket. So basically, if you look in here, there's a hole there that on this side, and that is for that. So if you drop that down there, you can then tighten your bolts in. Okay, so here's the finished seat.